Hello guys, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. In this video we're going to document the step-by-step process of setting up and running your Raspberry Pi 4. We're going to take it pretty slow, alright? So first what we're going to start with is your small micro SD card and your larger SD card. This little slot in the top of the SD card, and we need to insert the micro SD card into the top slot. It's label out, just like so, like that. Alright, you're through step one. Alright, step two. We're going to take our SD card and we are going to insert it in the side of our computer. Like so. Now, if you don't have an SD card slot in the side of your computer, you can get one of these. Universal multi-card reader writer. All the slots are in the top. Pretty straightforward. It does the exact same thing. We're just going to use this because obviously it's easier because I have the slot in my computer. From here, I click on Course Software. In this subcategory, I'm going to click on the course software that I need to install for this specific assignment. So I'm going to install the Raspberry Pi installer for my Mac. I'm going to install the Fritzing for my Mac, and I'm also going to install the VNC viewer. Once I've installed these, I'm going to open the Raspberry Pi module, which will show up on your computer after you install. And this is what you will see. So we're going to go to choose operating system, and specifically for me, I'm going to select the top one, Raspberry Pi OS 32-bit. Now, something that is critical to make note of here is that sometimes older computers are unable to install the most up-to-date versions, and that's why we see others listed here underneath the operating systems. So some of these could include Noob's Installer or the Apple Pi Baker per se. These are also very similar to what I'm about to install. They'll take approximately 15 minutes, and then you'll be prompted with a message saying that OS has successfully been installed. Anyhow, I'm going to go continue with the Raspberry Pi 32-bit, and then I'll choose my SD card. And then I will proceed to click Write. So once we've downloaded the software onto the SD card and the micro SD card, we want to eject the boot. So we're going to do that, and then we are now left with this, and we're going to take the micro SD card out of our SD card again. Alright, so now that we have our micro SD chip removed from the SD card, we're going to take our Raspberry Pi, this part right here, and our micro SD card, and we are going to insert it in there like so. So now we're just about ready to start hooking up some wires, but before we do that, we need to take our case, our acrylic case, put that onto our Raspberry Pi, and put our screws back on. Alright, so now we are at the step where we need to build our case. So what I have at the bottom is the plus acrylic with the 4 screws sticking up. So we have these 2 pieces as seen here. We're going to take these and we're going to stack them. One is a little bit smaller on the inside, and that's going to hold our Raspberry Pi. So then we're just going to simply drop them down over the 4 screws. Then we're going to take the end, the micro SD chip, and put it where the opening is on the end. And drop it in like so. Should fit pretty decent. Alright, take our next layer, drop it on. Need to wiggle it in there a little tiny bit. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But before put that next one in, we need to install, or what I like to call, rainbow track. So there's a little ridge right here. This needs to fit in to that ridge, and we need to push firmly down over the 40 prongs, like so. And that looks good. Then we can take our last layer, place it on top, and this opening is going to go over that ridge, like so. Alright, so now we have the Raspberry Pi case built, we have the rainbow track, and we have the T-cobbler here on the end, currently installed. So now what we need to do is we need to take our breadboard. This is what we call a breadboard. We're going to take it, and we are going to start at the lower end. So the end that starts with 5, not the end that starts with 60. And we are simply going to take the prongs and pop them into the breadboard like so. You need to be somewhat careful. They can bend pretty easy. Alright, so our next step is to actually start filling out some of these ports. So what we're going to do is, I'm lucky enough to have a wireless mouse, so I'm going to plug my wireless mouse port in right there. I'm going to take my wired keyboard, plug it in right there. Then, after I have those two plugged in, let's see if we can get a better angle. There we go. That looks better. Now, I'm going to take my HDMI, plug it in to get the connection from the monitor. And last but not least, which we can see right here, the bottom, we're going to plug in our power. Now, a few minutes, we should have juice. So after all that, we officially have a second computer. Welcome to Raspberry Pi Desktop. Here we are. So overall, that experience was actually pretty cool. I've never really built a computer before. And the steps that we went through made things like somewhat more simple, and like it was kind of enjoyable actually, to be honest. So I hope this little tutorial helped you out, and hopefully you can build a case a little quicker than I did the first time. That was a little bit of a hassle, but after 20 minutes or so I figured it out. Alright, take care guys, hope you enjoyed.